Hey friends, it's Lori with Farmhouse Stencil Shop. I have this can here that I got at an estate sale, and I showed this to you guys, and I'm going to paint it and fix it up a little bit. Now I have had this label that I made. It's been probably last fall or so. I don't remember exactly when. It might have been last summer that I made these faux rice paper labels. And I finally found a can to put it on. So my plan is to paint this can and then just Mod Podge this large label on the front of it. So I'm not going to make you watch me paint the can, but I am going to I'm going to start actually with hazelnut Waverly chalk paint in the hazelnut shade, and I'm going to paint that. So I'll be back in a few and the can will be painted. All right, friends, we are back and the can is now painted. I believe it's all dry. I had to do 2 coats of the Waverly hazelnut, and then after I did the 2 coats, I went back over it with one of these yellow daubers, just the larger one, and I also put on some more of the chalk paint to try to cover other spots, and I think I got it covered fairly well. One thing I still want to do before I add my label is I'm going to take a dry brush, or I'm going to take some black paint and kind of dry brush it onto the can. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just use some black acrylic paint and this brush right here. And I'm going to start on the back of the can just to make sure I like it. Okay, so that was going to be my front. So this is the back of my can. And I'm just going to randomly brush on some black paint. I usually like to start on the back of anything I'm doing just to make sure that I like it. And then just continue to the front. It takes very little of the black paint. The handles. I know I got really heavy right there. Let me just kind of, that's on the back anyways. I got really heavy, but it's okay. It will be fine. We'll just do a couple of other heavy spots. Okay. So then I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm also going to do the same thing to my lid. Going to paint a star on the lid. Okay, stick that in my water. I have a star over here that I made. This is an 8-inch star, and let me see here. I don't really think there's a front or a back or anything, so we're just going to put the star right on the lid. Just get it lined up where I want it. Okay, I got me a piece of tape. Help me to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to stencil the star on the top. We have our star finished. And I think that looks really good. It's nice and primitive. And this hazelnut shade is a really good shade if you're going for a primitive look. Now, once I'm done, I am going to stain over it as well, which will darken it up a little bit, but not very much. So now I'm going to take my can here, and what I'm going to do to put my label on the front. Now, you could easily just stencil this on, but I'm just demonstrating one way to use these labels. The faux rice paper, this is just made out of a napkin. It's just another way to just make things and keep to the side if you want to have labels for like little cans or anything like that. I normally would probably stencil right onto this popcorn tin, but since I have this label, I wanted to use it on the can. You can also use them on those paper Amazon bags, things like that. You can use them on whatever you want. Let me get a pencil really. Oh, I have a pencil right here. So what I'm going to do to attach this to the front, let me see, I want to make sure I'm in the center here. I'm just going to eyeball this, and let's see, hopefully I got it pretty close to the center, and I'm going to just kind of go down the edge and trace around it. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to put my Mod Podge right onto the can instead of the back of the napkin. I found that this is just made with napkin and coffee podge, but I found that if you sit there and soak the whole thing down, it will make your napkin soft. So I don't like to do that. I would rather put the Mod Podge right onto the can and then put the label onto the can. So I'm just tracing where I want to put my Mod Podge. Okay. So now I'm going to grab my Mod Podge. And I'm just going to Mod Podge right inside that area that I traced. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick it down and then just kind of lift it up and Mod Podge under it, just like I would if I was putting fabric on something. All right. It really doesn't matter if there are wrinkles because there's wrinkles in the napkin anyways. So we're not going to worry about wrinkles. This can totally look weathered and all of that. I know it's probably a little bit difficult to see what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just going to push this all the way down onto our can. Back up here and get this corner. And then just rub it down really well. It does just give it an appearance of an old label. Now I'm going to take my coffee podge because I have some spots that when my label dried, I had actually missed a couple of spots. Let me show you what this looks like right now. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Looks like a nice weathered, wrinkled, leather-like look. So I'm going to grab a brush and put a little bit of coffee podge, which is what I made it with in the first place. I'm going to put that. Now, coffee podge is just clear school glue that's watered down and instant coffee. It's a really thin consistency. I'm going to brush that on in a couple of spots over the top. Just clear school glue that's watered down. That's all it is. And coffee, instant coffee. It's looking good. Looking really good. Make sure those edges stay down. Now I'm going to dry it a little bit. It's going to take a little time for this to fully dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to the staining part, and then I will let it dry and then make sure I give you guys a picture once it's good and dry so you can see the final result. All right, so I'm going to use my Early American stain, and I'm going to stain the lid and the can. I'm just not going to stain over the front of the label. That's the only place that I'm not going to stain. This will seal your paint in as well. Just give it that nice finished look. So I might speed this part up so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And we'll just start on the back here. Looks good. Okay, I just got to do the lid, so let me stick this out of the way. All right, friends, that is all that I'm doing. I'm going to let this dry, and then I will get you a picture at the end of the video. I think it's going to turn out really good. This is basically how it's going to look anyways. It just needs to dry. I think it's going to look good. There we go. And I will actually go ahead and, I think I'm going to go ahead and try to put it on can. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I didn't paint all the way to the top of the can, so the can could go right, or the lid could go right back on the can. So it just needs to dry. There we have it. It's a nice primitive popcorn tin. I don't know if this is a popcorn tin or what kind of tin it is. Somebody had spray painted it navy blue, but I like it. I think it's really cute. And I'll get you a picture at the end. Thank you for watching, you guys.